Okay, did some work on it. I basically had to disassemble the whole bike. Um, Once it got past the 2 inches of oil on the hub motor, for whatever reason he was squirting oil on both sides. I guess he thought it would smooth out the bearings. Not that there was a problem with them anyway. Swing arm was about 2 inches of I don't know what. But when I cleaned that off and inspected it, it's good. There's not much play in it. The kickstand, the center stand needs to be replaced. It's rusted right through, but that's pretty much it for the frame. I didn't see any physical damage with it. The rear sprocket was seized, but it was mostly on the outside. The bearings are still good and it freed up pretty good, as you can see. Put new chain on it. The crank, I don't know what you call that, axle, or that was totally seized. Because one of the main problems with this model, I don't know if you could see it from under there, but the cup isn't sealed on the other side, so all the road dirt gets right in the bearings. So they were pretty much toast. You couldn't even turn it by hand. That will explain why the guy took the pedals off, which kind of pisses me off because he sold it. It's supposed to be with the pedals, and I didn't notice until I got home and there's no pedals. It's a good thing I didn't try and ride at home. I would have been charged with what is it, motor vehicle, no license, no insurance. That would have really sucked. So anyway, so that's done. The hub motor checks out, all the crank and everything. For the pedals and the pedal arms, I'm looking at probably 20 bucks, so it's not a big deal. Center kickstand's another 10. That's for a brand new one that bolts right on. Everything I pretty much got working. See, both lights are working now. Turn signals. Let's see what we got here. They work really good. The only thing I don't like is there's no beeping or anything or clicking, so you won't know if they're on or not unless you look at the display, and the display isn't the best. It doesn't really show too much. Like, it works, it's just it's very dim. So brake lights work. Pretty sure they do. I had to repair the brakes. They weren't returning. They're pretty sloppy. So I did that. You can stop on a dime on the front one, but the back one needs a little bit of work. Probably have to change the shoes. But let's see the other side. The cable was a little short too, and it's got some rust. So I went over the numbers, and for me to finish this bike would cost about 109, so I'm only about 209 into it, so it's not a bad deal. This piece here is 10 bucks. As you can see, it's got a crack in it. This is 10 bucks. I got that on order. The forks, I soaked them with thin oil. They still didn't free up. So what I did is I basically just put some thick bearing grease on the inside, and then put the seals back down. Maybe they'll loosen up when I hit a mean pothole or something. And if they don't, I'll have to find a source for them, because they just bolt up to here. So I don't have to replace the whole crown and everything, just the legs. So, but that's last on the list, so I'm not really too worried about it. You got a little bit of fairing damage here I got to repair, and this here. I'm going to have the big 20 amp hour lead acid batteries in there. Probably put them this way. I need 4 of them. And then what I'll do is I'll build a deck that, because if they don't go all the way into the container, I'll either cut this lip so it gives them more room, or what I'll do is I'll build it up a little bit, and then I'll put some rug down to cover it up, and then some butterfly bolts. I'll probably use these holes here that are already here, and that'll be that. Yeah, it's not as bad. I probably saved myself about maybe $200 or $300 in parts alone, just on the wiring harness and everything else. Like, the problem with the lights was there's a main ground wire, green wire coming in here, it splits off into two. There's a couple of junctions like that in this model, and the connectors get loose out over time, and that was the problem with the lights. Only one side was grounded. So with when it comes to the turn signals, I don't know if I saved the part over here. Here it is. It's basically a module like this with a board going into it, and the board wasn't actually mounted to anything. It just flops around in there, and over time the board basically just fell right off the wires and was jiggling around in there. So I soldered it back on, and that took care of it. So all in all, it's not too bad of a deal. It's could use either a paint job or a good buffing, but that's about it.